Welcome to yet another episode of Compas FC. Fun, electric last week. Let's see what the boys got going on this week. Obviously, I'm joined by J.C. Cervantes, Eddie Rodriguez, rocking some interesting sweatshirts there. Compas on the beat official merch. Guys,
Like
thank you guys
Batman
so
has
much
a new cape.
There you go, a new cape. Batman got a new cape.
That's what it is. Check it out. Tell your best friends, your girlfriends, your boyfriends. Get the gear.
JC, how are you doing?
Hey, cozy now. It was a little cold out here, Something came over me.
All right, well, let the fireworks begin. Obviously, big game out in Barcelona, obviously, with Real Madrid going out there, and obviously the Real Madrid have lost 3 games in a row to Barcelona. They won the meeting back in October, I believe, and then the last 3 they had not won. It was looking pretty bad for them. They went on the obviously on their little international break. Benzema hits a hat trick over the weekend, and then obviously he hit one again now in Madrid, in Barcelona. Fun fact, actually, this is the first time that somebody, Real Madrid player, has hit a hat trick in Barcelona since the 1960s. So no player had hit a hat trick. No Real Madrid player had hit a hat trick. Madrid go in there right before halftime. They score a goal. Vinicius gets it to Benzema. Benzema passes it back to Vinicius. He nails the goal. And then the second half, it was all Real Madrid from there. They turned it. It seemed like that goal really energized them and gave them the goal. And Ramadan Benzema strikes again with a hat trick. That's 6 goals in the last 2 games for him. So it seems like these guys are rolling. I thought today was a Champions League game. That's what it looked like, especially with the way Real Madrid played. But JC, what did you see from these guys?
Hey, that's just what they do. I don't know. Someone somewhere a long time ago said, "Don't hang your head on this, little league game. There's a whole nother cup game to be played." And a lot of people are writing off a 1-0 victory as a done deal. Sign it, give them the trophy. But a couple people around this room beg to differ. So, they just handle business. Big games, big players show up. There's a reason why they call him Big Game Benzi. And to be honest, in Ancelotti masterclass, I'm not surprised to see Camavinga just absolutely destroying at left back. The guy couldn't miss a tackle to save his life. He could close his eyes and put his leg out and he'd get the ball. So, I was really the big one. I'm a little, taken back that they had to debut this tactic here come this game, but it's a big game and they had to do what they had to do. Like, look at this. Look at this. This man looked like he's been playing left back his whole life. And, he plays like a traditional left back, doesn't really push up too much, just all defensive, lockdown. Rafinha's, you'll ask me, I don't really rate him. He just runs around.
Does somebody rate him?
I don't know. I'm gonna leave that to somebody else. But he runs around, does a whole lot of nothing. And here it is, Camavinga there just exposed them, and he didn't do anything in the World Cup. He didn't do anything today, and another big game, another big result for Real Madrid. And shout out Benzi. He should have had 4. He should have had 4. And maybe a couple more that one that bounced in that he kind of missed on the overhead kick.
This one run right before, like that looked like it was gonna. Look at that.
He had miss. Can't miss.
The guy's ridiculous.
His timing is impeccable.
Eddie, what did you see?
Credit where credit is due first and foremost, because it was J.C. who hinted that Ancelotti should play Camavinga at left back. The guy finally hit a lock here with that. So congratulations, J.C. Your first lock of the season.
Hold on.
There you go. Boom. But let's not kid ourselves. Barcelona had a few chances where they looked kind of dangerous. They had the Lewandowski chance, the Bale chance where he ran down the wing, that Gavi cross that, people were saying it was a handball. Other people were saying it wasn't. Ref was quick to dismiss it. But it was all Real Madrid. And here in this podcast, we never doubted that. Some people were quick to jump on the ship and say Ancelotti out. Benzema's too old. Modric can't hack it anymore.
Kroos is too old.
But the old man really stepped up today, huh? And
all 3 of them.
You've seen the difference. And I think Barcelona really missed Frankie de Jong because you want to talk about someone that's old and probably still can't play at this level anymore at a consistent rate is Sergio Busquets. Sergio Busquets looked like he was off pace the whole
Did he play?
entire game.
He was a shadow all
So
game.
I'm trying to shadow himself. But shout out Vinicius, fearless like always. Rodrigo gave it to them here and there. Fede being Fede, but Modric, man, that guy right there, he can play till he's 40 something, man. Honestly,
Is it
the
a
guy
problem?
is on another level right now.
Is it a problem with Vinicius? The Vinicius kind of gets these yellow cards, and sometimes he gets in the other guys' faces, and he they were talking about it. Like the one thing that they were criticizing was that Vinicius needs to learn how to keep his mouth shut and all
So
that.
why
But
they criticizing Vinicius, but not Gavi? Because
yeah,
Gavi's the one's always instigating everything. Gavi was the one that was trying to do X, Y, and Z and get into players' heads and be the loudmouth, be the quote unquote enforcer. And Sergio Busquets at one point had to tell him to shut up.
Because to me, it feels like at first, yeah, Vinicius wasn't playing well, but then when they started poking at him, it felt like he grew more and more into, and that's what it feels like to me. That when he gets
just
poked
a different type of player. Those are type of players that react a certain way when you provoke them, and there's certain players that shut down and you get nothing from them, and then there's other players like Vinicius that react in a positive way. That's how you feel like you're gonna do to me. Cool. Let's see what it's gonna be.
Rafinha got poked, and what did he do?
There you go. J.C. hit it right there.
Faded away.
It feels like Alaba and Militao are probably their best center back. Like today, how in games past we've seen it, they've scrambled around and they're kind of like they don't know what's going on. I'm not trying to discredit Rudiger because I think Rudiger is a very good center back, but it just feels like Militao and Alaba kind of have each other's back. They know exactly what's going on, and it feels like
that's
they have
the preferred partnership for Ancelotti easily.
Yeah.
I think that's been his go-to for the season when Alaba has been available. But like J.C. said, it was an Ancelotti masterclass. I think the camera zoomed in on Xavi like in the 80th minute, and he just shrugged and said,
"That was my favorite. Yeah,
nothing I could do."
He picked up a yellow card. He literally. That's why I texted you guys. I can't believe we can shove the refs now. He shoved the referee twice within the first 10 minutes of the game because of how frustrated he was. Game
right there, where he just shrugged his hands. Is like, hey, it's not on me. Apparently, it's on
you know what
guys.
It looked like. You know what it looked like Pep last year. Well, they love to compare him when Pep against when Real Madrid against Man City. When Rodrigo scores the game tying goal, Pep's just like I can't stop it. Like there's nothing I can do.
And that's what it was. There's nothing they could do. I thought Araujo, had a decent game. He didn't have a bad game. He did.
As the game went on, he kind of.
But as the game went on, it wasn't just him. It was the whole team, right? You could see the whole team were just like almost disinterested at some point where the fight was just taken out of them because Madrid were just so rampant. 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 and like we said here, don't count them out because I easily thought the last game that they could have easily scored 3 goals.
Of course.
And, they scored 4.
Yeah. No,
and then also, don't forget, Valverde's playing defensive mid, and that really just takes away a lot of the pressure that these guys have to worry about stepping, when to step, all that. The guy's he's lights out. He cuts off half the attacks before they even get to the point of being a threat to the center back. So when you got a guy like that
to do what he does best,
exactly. Are we, and you don't have to worry about it. But I'm getting ready. I'm just trying to call whoever we need to call to launch that bid for Valverde because I need that.
Not for sale.
I'll pay 110 for that.
No, not for sale.
150 easy. Whatever they want for Jude, pay it for Valverde. Pay the man, bro.
You know what's interesting though? I have 2 things to say. One, I have a question for you. Well, one, I have a question because. Why is Fernando getting no credit for what he said? What did
Fernando say?
What did Fernando say?
They needed to start Rodrigo on the right side to really get into there, and that's what they did today. They started Rodrigo. I thought it was smart. The lineup that he threw out there was smart. He went with Rodrigo. Rodrigo attacked from that right side.
You finally got your lock. You and JC are,
there
popping that cherry for you.
I thought Rodrigo kind of exposed that right side because I felt like in the first, I understood you're going Vinicius against Araujo, but you needed something on that right side. It felt like because Valverde would cut in or Valverde would have to go back and play defense, which we all know the dude just doesn't run out of energy. But I felt like they needed a little bit something else, and I felt like this lineup is one of the strongest lineups that they could throw out there. Obviously, Tchouameni's good, but I just feel like Fede and Camavinga have turned into two players, two like they have to play both of them. There's no way that they can sit either one.
Camavinga at left back makes a lot of sense because he offers you an outlet. He offers you someone that's good with the ball, can sniff out danger, and pick the right pass, which is the most important thing. Don't get me wrong. He's not running down the flank and trying to run amok, but he's making the right decision
but
and putting other players in better positions to move the ball forward.
Yeah, but Camavinga's been a game changer since Ancelotti started to like last year against PSG in that second game. That's where you could tell, okay, maybe this kid could make a difference. And then more and more, Ancelotti started trusting him. Obviously, started trusting Rodrigo a little bit more too. But it feels like as soon as he's trusting him, that's why to me, and I mean, I'll say it, to me, yeah, Jude Bellingham, Gabi, Pedri, they're good. But I think Camavinga's on a different level than those guys are. I think Camavinga's had I'll say
Gabi and Pedri for sure.
I'll say why.
Bellingham,
I'll say why. He has but look at what Jude Bellingham hasn't gone through the trials that this kid has gone through. You've gone through the whole exactly what he saw last year in Champions League. That kind of forms what kind of player you're gonna be. So obviously the kid doesn't quit. And when the going gets tough, this kid turns it hits it into fifth gear, and he really comes back and he ends up putting it into fifth gear. Then on top of that,
he's on a better team.
No, but he's playing different positions. He's doing a lot of different things. And he offers a lot more.
He's got a coach.
You got to credit that to Ancelotti because
that's what a head coach will do for you.
Could have literally threw the kid in the fire last season, and that right there within itself, the thing could have been really good or really bad. And the way he eased them into it, like, hey kid, you're gonna get important minutes and important games, like you mentioned that PSG game. The kid didn't disappoint, and little by little, he built himself up to now almost it's like Ancelotti has to pick him. He's one of the first names now moving forward for the rest of the season. One of the first names on the team sheet, in my opinion.
But I don't even think Real Madrid, France. I think the kid has to be one of the names that has to be thrown in there. There's like the kid literally can do it all. But that's what I'm saying. Like he's been through the trials and tribulations. I don't think Jude has been through it yet, which is not a knock on him because he's at a different club and everything. But I'm just saying, like, if I had to choose between all four of those, I would go Camavinga over the other three, just because Camavinga's been there, he's done that, he's done a lot of really good things, and I just think the kid is truly something else. I just think that he really can do a lot. And then the other thing that he used to do last year, he used to get a lot of yellow cards and take bad angles at his tackles. I think he's really improved that this year. Today, he made some tackles where I'm like, oh, here you go. And then he would end up making them and it'd be clean. So, I mean, I'm really impressed with the kid. And I think,
but are you talking about Camavinga, the left back, or Camavinga, the center mid?
I'm talking about Camavinga, the player.
Because those are two different players. When he's in the center mid position, when he's in the center mid position, you saw versus Liverpool, where he's trying to force the pass, really trying to get it through and thread the needle. And yeah, maybe he does have the ability to be there. And will he be there eventually? Yeah, but you see him be a better player at left back just because it's less responsibility he has to take on. You're really just focusing on one thing, recover the ball and distribute it, which is really just the easest thing to do.
Yeah,
and for me, that's what separates guys right now at the moment, where a Jude can cover and distribute. Valverde can do the same. Tchouameni could do the same. And to play a position where it's a lonely position to play. And it's probably one of the most important positions to play in midfield. And to ruin and to just give up a bad pass, or just to go ahead and pass left instead of right and play it into a non forced position, it's tough. Camavinga, the left back, there's a reason why Marcelo co-signed it. Told him, hey, take the 12 jersey. You're playing left back, and he said a long time ago.
He did.
And you saw what I saw. The same exact game. I was like, yo, you shouldn't move. Let him be there. And maybe he's not a left wing back and he doesn't need to push up, but that's fine also. Because you got a lockdown player there who can put guys like Rafinha in his pockets.
Well, we didn't see it until France did it with him.
For some reason.
They're saying that the Chums wants him at left back, but
that's fine.
But you already have Theo Hernandez at left back.
But Theo is like that. Gareth Bale.
No, yeah, but remember in the World Cup in the final, that's where that's the first time that we saw him at left back. The semifinal or the final? I can't remember which one.
No, I think it was the final.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, I think the kid. I just think that the kid is unique. He does a lot of really good things, and at his age, he's come in. And he like the same thing that we've talked about. Vinny could have fallen under the pressure because remember his first 2 years he wasn't that good, but he was building. Then
But
finally,
he's around a lot of great guys. That clubhouse
Well,
is
yeah, it
crazy.
doesn't hurt him learning from two of the best midfielders of our generation.
But I mean, we all remember
Toni
at one
Kroos
point Benzema
and
got
Luka
caught.
Modric.
Benzema got caught saying, "Hey, don't pass him the ball. Like, stop passing him the ball."
He was
And
playing
now all
against
of a
them.
sudden, huh?
He was playing against us.
Well, yeah, no, I know. That's why I'm saying,
You gotta
like,
call it how he saw it.
no, I know, and I'm not blaming him. I mean, I know that there was times where those guys were frustrated, and you could tell the frustration. But that's what I'm saying. Like, these kids have grown into their roles. Like, Fede has grown into his role. Camavinga has grown in. Like,
the frustration from a player like that,
it's
like a Benzema, like a Luka Modric, like a Toni Kroos, comes from them knowing that these kids can play a lot better than what they're showing.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's like pushing them to be better. And now look at Vinicius, indisputably one of the best players in the world right now.
Yeah, no, and him and Benzema left their mark all game today.
So
you saw what?
Camavinga, Vinicius, one of the best young talents in the world right now. Fede Valverde, Rodrigo. Like, there's a reason why Ancelotti was able to mesh this team so well, is because he has guys that he can count on, like Benzema, like Modric, like Kroos, like Courtois, guys that have this experience that can get these kids in line and start, playing as the team. And that's what you're seeing right now. It's unfortunate that they're so behind in La Liga race, but like we've always mentioned, I don't think Real Madrid was ever worried about winning La Liga. I think they were more worried about winning champions, and Ancelotti specifically, I think he was more worried about bringing back the Copa del Rey to the Bernabeu. So there's that.
There you go.
Right.
It was funny because I don't know, JC. I think JC was like, you didn't listen to the game, did you, Eddie? You were just watching it?
I was watching the.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know, JC, if you caught it during the broadcast.
Oh, that was hilarious.
The announcers were like, I wonder how these guys are going to celebrate. Because a couple of weeks ago, when Barcelona won, they celebrated like they had just won the league.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see. Madrid just barely said, like, they celebrated, but they kind of like, okay, let's go, because I think they know that they still have Chelsea next week and they have other things they need to do. But there was a video, though. I just don't have it. Vinicius ran up and said something to Gavi, and he kind of poked at him a little bit. And I guess they both had to be held back walking into the locker rooms. But the hate for Barcelona and Real Madrid is still there. So I'm sure this next generation is going to carry that hate for each other. So it's going to be interesting. But guys, I don't know if you heard, but Barcelona thought that there could have been somebody that could have rescued them.
He was on the bench. Frankie de Jong, he was on the bench.
No. Watch this. They thought that there was somebody that could rescue them.
Oh, God. Here we go.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this garbage.
So for the people that couldn't hear, they were chanting Messi, Messi. I don't know if they're talking about how messy the game was, or if they were chanting for Lionel Messi. But the reason why a lot of that's kind of being brought up nowadays, because there is a report out there that Lionel Messi, it's been ESPN, Marca, everybody has been a lot of people have been reporting that Messi will unlikely be extending his contract with PSG. Now, there's a Saudi Arabia team that is offered, which is the rival of the squad that Cristiano Ronaldo is currently on. They offered him $400 million, which I think Ronaldo's making $250 million per season. The rival team has offered him $400 million. Then there's other stories that Messi, the other two stories, one of them is that all the teams in MLS are getting money together to try and buy Messi, so that Messi can come and play in the United States. The third story is Barcelona are trying to muster up money to get Messi back and sign him to a contract. Now, my question for both of you guys is, and Eddie, I'll start with you. Your main problem and the reason why you're in this financial trouble, a lot of it is because you signed Lionel Messi. You're still not out of the doghouse. You still have to sell over 250 million dollars worth of either players or whatever you need, but you still need to make up that much money. They're still in a financial crisis. Why would you bring Lionel Messi back into this? One, two, haven't we seen Lionel Messi? I mean, besides the 2 months in the World Cup, have we really seen a good side of Messi the last 2 years in Paris?
Not at all, but he's a Barcelona man. He's Barcelona through and through. That's their guy. Obviously, bringing Messi back to the Camp Nou would definitely boost up morale and revenue, which is the most important thing. But like you mentioned, they still have to sell off a lot of players just to register some of their current players,
They have to have a lot of weddings
because
there too.
and not only can you host a wedding there, but you can play a match, with your Sunday league team there. So there's a lot of things you can do to go support Barcelona if you're a Barcelona fan. But to be fair, I don't really think or see Messi going to Barcelona unless the guy is willing to play for free, which he's shown that he's not doing that. So it makes a lot more sense that he'll go and join that Saudi team for 400
But
million
he's the great
per
Lionel
year.
Messi. He'll do it for free.
There's a difference between being great and loving your club and doing things like that, like almost like Totti-esque, if I will. And then being Lionel Messi, who wants to get his last big paycheck, and 400 mil doesn't sound too bad.
JC, what do you think about the fans and all this?
I mean, if he's gonna go out there and waste, their time like he did at PSG, then nobody's gonna get any quality signing. But I hate to be that guy, but somebody has to say it, right? What has he done in PSG? He's just tuning up for Argentina squads, and people have come out and said he was getting whistled just the other day, and it's going to continue to happen, especially since they lost that home streak. But it looks like all signs point towards the Saudi league, and you know they buy anything. Everybody's got a price. If they get him on the phone, they ask him what's his number, he'll be over there ASAP. And the only thing I don't see MLS doing, they are an Adidas league, and at the end of the day, he's going to bring revenue wherever he goes. But Barcelona's going to move on. Realistically speaking, they're still trying to sign a lot of these players. Who's Gabi, right? They said he's going to
Gabi.
walk as a free agent because they can't, his new contract that they tried to put him on with his $1 billion release clause or whatever, it's not going to go through. So they've got bigger problems, and Messi's not going to solve them. And if they don't have a team to give him the ball and to distribute and to put him in a position to win, because he's not going to be that guy to take on 10 players from half court and then run in and then just tap it and go around the goalie. You know what I mean? He's not that guy anymore. So you really need to be on a team or be somewhere where the expectation is low. So when you go ahead and sneeze, you get applauded for it. And that's really where he's at now in his career. And, he did everything he had to do at the club level, and he's always been on great teams. And now that he's not on a great team, who's feeding them constantly, he's getting booed. Not much of a coincidence there, but it is what it is. I just feel like he'll go to the Saudi league or wherever he'll get the biggest check for the lowest expectation.
JC, just real quick, you put him into this Barcelona club. Does it make him better at all?
No. If they play like they played today, where they weren't even, they want to throw Lewandowski under the bus for not scoring goals. Like, bro, he had how many touches? How many real opportunities? Was he really in a threatening position to the defense? Not at all, because they weren't playing strong. They weren't feeding. They weren't producing. It's not the same style of play that they played when they played the La Liga match. And the biggest for me was Frankie de Jong was missing. And I said it a while back, and I'll say it again. I will say it again. If Frankie plays, Barcelona does really well. If he doesn't play and Xavi's ego gets in the way and he wants to play his friends, he's losing. And today, case in point,
Well, Frankie didn't play because he was injured, but I get your point there. But again, like what happened? Like we were talking about this.
Militao put Lewandowski in here,
saying that
it wasn't that hard.
As soon as Dembele goes down, and God forbid Frankie de Jong goes down,
we said it here.
Down goes Barcelona, and with a handful of La Liga games left, I think like 7 or 8. I wouldn't be surprised if they bottle it. I really wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly Dembele is on it. That he's told his dad and that his parents think that he's on his way out. So he may be going to.
Why would anybody?
Dembele might go to the MLS.
Realistically,
really?
Why would anybody want to be there? They are really not in a place to pay anybody to sign anything. They got a new sponsor every week on the jersey. It doesn't make any sense. It's all so upside down that you just don't want to be anywhere near that because there's no guarantees. They look at what they did to Frankie. They made him restructure his whole contract so they can pay other players. Who's next? Like realistic, like
I
be real.
wonder if Frankie leaves in the offseason.
We'll see.
It's not a question if he wants to leave. It's a question if Barcelona are forced for him to leave.
Well, the
If
thing
you're
is,
Barcelona
like
and you say, do I
Busquets is
keep
gonna
Gavi
pay.
and Pedri or do I keep a Frankie de Jong? You're obviously going to keep a Gavi and Pedri because the
Easy.
upside there for the release clauses and so on and so forth is much higher right now than Frankie de Jong's.
Well, and I mean, I think Busquets is gone. Like I think that he's gonna be he's gonna follow Messi wherever he goes. And but that's gonna be the interesting part about this whole thing is does Frankie de Jong take over for what Busquets is, and they have their magical make believe Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets part two. That's another thing that I have never understood. People try and throw Busquets in there like he was that dumb. Like if he was a Casemiro or like
it's a
something
debate
like that,
for another day. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. I would take an Ozil over a Xavi or Iniesta any day, and that's just me.
Modric
You can debate about that in the comments. But
What
if
about
we're
Modric?
talking about,
Modric and would you take
Modric
Modric and
Ozil,
Kroos
right
over
there.
Iniesta and Xavi?
I would for sure, 100%.
Okay, that's so yeah. So I mean I'm pretty sure Messi's either MLS or Saudi squad. I don't see him going back to Barcelona because, like you guys said, they have no money.
No.
But all right, well,
biggest check, lowest expectation. That's all it's gonna be.
Let's move on. Let's talk a little Manchester United. Manchester United beat Brentford today 1-0. It was a little bit of a back and forth between both squads. Marcus Rashford ends up scoring the game-winning goal. Eddie sent me a stat earlier, JC, where it said that what was the stat that
Rashford has 10 winning strikes this season, and he's the first Manchester player to do it since Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, that's
back
crazy.
in 2009.
He scored against Newcastle when it mattered most.
You know,
I didn't think so. Yeah, let's not look at that stat,
crazy.
right?
And then De Gea today.
Let's not look at stats.
De Gea put it all on the line.
He's got like one goal more
before we move on real quick. This is what I just saw this. JC, thank you for sending this to me. Pretty funny. Ancelotti telling somebody, I don't know who this is, but he told him, "Vamos a jugar en la final de la." I don't know if that's Osasuna or who it is, but he's like, "Vamos a jugar en la final de la Copa."
Man's ready. Sir Carlo.
You know what's funny? That's another thing that I give that full credit for, because like Xavi's getting in the other guys' faces, and every other manager goes ballistic, and this guy just
no one hates Ancelotti.
Raises the eyebrow.
And that's Ancelotti.
He just raises the eyebrow, just stands there and chooses. What kind of bubblegum do you think you choose? Well, no, that's another story for another day. But remember Sean Payton, where's my goddamn juicy fruit?
There you go.
But okay, back to it, Eddie. Go ahead about
honestly, like, let's be honest. The game wasn't that great. The game was pretty boring. But again, Marcus Rashford was there when you needed him the most. Great layout by Savitzer, great awareness. He did the hardest part. Marcus had to do the easiest part, which is, tap the ball in the back of the net right there for a goal. But credit where credit is due, not only to him, but to Anthony. You saw him in this game tracking back. That was something they weren't doing against Newcastle. They showed a lot more willingness to help the team out. Shaw saw yellow early, so that was unfortunate. But man, time and time again he gets called upon, and time again he delivers when it matters.
They're doing their job.
Re-sign the guy.
They are
new
doing
long-term
their job.
Deal.
Are you
Re-sign
kidding me?
Rashford.
This is a waste of money.
Let's get it going. Ten Hag, I know you listen to Compas. Make it happen.
Before I go to JC, I'm getting told Dan and Dago has a question. JC, does the goal today from Marcus Rashford make up for the Newcastle game?
No, he's still a loss. I mean, he's just standing there. Sabitzer had all the vision in the world, and he's standing point blank. I mean, if you miss that, what kind of forward are you? You're just doing your job, bro. You're putting the ball in the back of the net. Let's not make this more than what it was. He shut up one time. It was all Sabitzer and everybody else, and the guy's just standing there, and he hit the ball as hard as he could. He almost missed it. He shelved it, and he just closed his eyes and kicked it as hard as he could, just like a celebration.
Clinical.
Come on, don't even go there. He's just doing his job. He's got 2 goals more than Saka, and you're over there getting ready to call him better than Mbappe.
This guy's always talking about
Come
people
on,
doing
bro.
their job and this.
He's doing
and
his
that.
job. He's doing
But
his
then,
job.
you know, a couple of years back when Pogba scored some tap in, no, that's not doing his job. He's doing the most. This, and that. This guy, man.
J.C.
This
is
guy.
J.C. Was Dannon right on Sunday? Was Rashford in Trippier's pocket?
I don't know how Trips could run. That guy is just bags full of Rashford. I don't know. It didn't make any sense to me. The guy had 0 effort. He was still more worried about New York Instagram posts than he was the game in Newcastle. So I'm glad Coach caught on everybody and lit a fire under all of them, and he got a reaction. And a must-win game because, you know, Newcastle was playing today also, or the same day, and everything's a must-win game now. And when you don't put the effort in to close out the season, and honestly, they're lucky Brentford didn't tie. They really left a lot there on the table. Anthony was just ripping every shot he could. He understood the urgency and maybe should have laid off a couple. Great to see Scott really show up finally. You're waiting on this to happen. Casemiro is really missing. The team really can't find a way without him, and you still see it every Premier League game. And that's the frustrating part about it is we don't have the squad depth, and that's going to continue to be the problem until a couple more transfer windows. And I don't think that the team is really set to go for any big runs. We're here and shoot the gun once in a while. We're in the title race and all that stuff, but you can't be in a title race and you can't play all these competitions without the squad depth. And it's showing more and more, and it's going to be more and more every single game. And we're 1 game behind everybody else now, and you got to close out. You got to close out, and you got to pick your battles, and you got to win. You got to score early and start squad rotations as much as we could, even though we don't have them.
Are you unhappy with the way they've played since Casemiro's been gone?
It was expected. There really isn't anybody to fill the void and play the position he plays it. More or less is just the mental capacity. The guy sets the tone. He plays the game on another level, and he reads and anticipates better than anybody in that position, or as good as. There's really still only 1, 2, 3 players that play the same way he does and can anticipate and cut plays off. So whenever you miss a guy like that, it's impossible to replace. It's not hard. It's impossible just because of what he gives you and the reassurance he gives your whole attack, because you really play different when a guy like that's on the field.
Real quick, Cristiano Ronaldo has had 6 goals in the last 3 games. Did Man U make a mistake, Eddie?
It's tough. Yes.
Could they use him right now?
I would say they made a mistake, not only by the way that he was treated, but I thought that he could still offer you something. And obviously he's catching form right now. He's doing it for Portugal and is doing it for his club. And I still think he has a lot in the tank to give. I think he was definitely a player that you could plug in and give you a little bit more than Weghorst, to be honest. I think Cristiano Ronaldo, if he got the same looks that Weghorst has had throughout the season, he's burying most of those.
You're talking 30 goals.
He's giving you at least 20 goals in the Prem and let's say 15 more in cup competition. So, yeah, that's definitely a big void. And you see it now with Rashford trying to fill that void with his goals. It's tough. It's tough because if you take away Marcus's Rashford's goals away from this team, they wouldn't even be in a position to be fighting for top 4.
There we go.
Let alone
let's just rename the club Marcus Rashford FC. Let's just call this. Let's not even call it Manchester United anymore. Let's just call it Marcus Rashford versus Brentford, because that's clearly it's 2 players only playing all the time.
So mad,
nobody
man.
else plays. Look at this.
Mad?
Look at this every single time.
Big man.
They lose and nothing to
man.
say. They win.
Oh
my God, man. Rashford is goal.
No, I'll give you that. Like,
he's doing his job,
has
bro.
A point
Get
that,
out here.
Trippier perhaps did have him in his pocket that
perhaps.
game.
You still can't admit it. Look at this.
And perhaps, we expected a lot more. That's why you're upset about it. And I'm with you on that, because we expected more from him and it didn't happen. And we expected more from the team. That didn't happen.
Rashford FC.
This is the first goal they scored since February in the Premier League, I believe. So, yeah, come on now.
Yeah, but let's go take a trip to New York. Yeah, let's go, pretend to be injured
Oh,
and
come
not go
on,
participate
all
with
the
Let's
all the
England
players need a
and
holiday
come
here and
back.
there.
Yeah, all right. Well,
JC
Coach approved
you
it.
signed up for it. You got
Coach
to go do
approved
your
it.
job.
So now you're
JC
saying
meant
Ten Hag don't know what he's doing?
You want me
All
to
right,
feel bad because you're playing
all
a
right,
sport for your life?
okay,
No, man. No,
okay.
I'm not the
JC
one.
JC did mention it. Newcastle, they've been on fire lately. They've won the last two games. They beat
There they
Manchester
go. There they
United.
go.
They beat West Ham for a combined 7-1 in the last two. So they've been very impressive. JC, what have you noticed out of West Ham?
Hey, they're closing strong. They're picking up that form that they had at the beginning of the season, and everybody. And I know here we were talking about it. Eddie was over there talking about Newcastle definitely have a possibility to make a run. They could finish top four, and there they are. They're third place in the league. To my frustration, but credit to them where it's due. They beat us straight up, fair and square. They outplayed us. They outran us. They had more effort, and the hungry dog that runs faster is always usually going to win. And you saw it yesterday. You saw the last game. You saw it again versus West Ham, and they're just running amok. 7 goals in 2 games versus not some chumps on the block. There's some quality players that they're beating out there, and they're not making they're convincing wins. It's not like, oh, we almost had them. Oh, here we could have had, because of this. No, they won straight up. They won fair square. They're running teams out of the game, and they're a force to be reckoned with. It's really up to them, and they hold their own destiny. And as long as they play out the way they're playing, they could easily be seeing a top 3, top 4 finish if United don't get it together.
Eddie?
That's funny, man. We talked about this in the podcast and hinted at it at the very beginning. I sure did. I said I liked Eddie Howe as the manager for Newcastle. I saw what he did at Bournemouth, bringing French players in and getting the most out of them, and that's what he's done here. Dan Burn, when he moved from Brighton to Newcastle, everyone's laughing. Like, what is he doing? Like, the guy's a gump. What is he? He's been one of their best defenders, for sure, one of the best defenders in the league all season. You brought in a Trippier, and everyone's expecting Trippier to not play at that level that he's shown for England, and
Captain.
that's not the case. He saved Nick Pope from going to the championship, but we already knew Nick Pope was a certified baller, no questions there. But then you still have players like Jolinton showing out, man. And then Bruno Guimaraes was a big question mark, right? But he's got both. I saw a meme earlier of them playing like Zidane and Edgar Davids. So, it's crazy, man. And I like to see it because, I remember watching Newcastle when Steve Bruce was there, and just the football was so boring. And when Mike Ashley was there as the owner, like, these games were just, you're grinding these games out. Like, you didn't even want to watch these games.
Yeah.
But now they're an entertaining side. They finally have a world-class striker, in my opinion, and Ishak. The kid really did a number on United when he played against us. So, if you're a Newcastle fan, these are the years you've been waiting for, and it's I'm glad to see it, that they're making the surge to the top four. I definitely guarantee it right now that they'll finish in the top four. I think no question about it, especially if they continue in this form. And love to see them in the Champions League, see what they can do next season.
Eddie, real quick, do you believe that thing that Dan and Dago says that if Newcastle
Dan and
makes it,
Dago.
Cristiano Ronaldo comes back and plays with them?
I mean, it's a possibility. Just for the Saudi Arabian connection there, and what that would mean. But if I'm completely honest, I don't see Cristiano Ronaldo going back to the Premier League. I might see him make a push to, maybe the Bundesliga or possibly back to Serie A. But to the Premier League, I think the door is closed for him there. I don't
Thomas
really
Tuchel,
realistically see
Cristiano
him.
Ronaldo.
Hey, you're seeing where I'm going with that? Bayern are in need of a striker, and if Cristiano Ronaldo is available, that's that's an interesting project there.
They got is Choupo-Moting right now, and
a couple of weeks ago, Eddie said that he thought Graham Potter was next in getting sacked. So it just happened, and then who gets hired? But oh god, his name just escaped me.
Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard. JC, what do you make of all this mess that is Chelsea?
I honestly, it's just ownership, and he's still out there in the group chats, and he's trying to figure out what people want. And he's just there trying to keep everybody in the seats and keep everybody happy and trying to keep everybody buying tickets and jerseys. Why not bring back the same guy that they love and their beloved midfielder? But I don't know. I don't really see. I hope he turns it around, but I don't see where he even starts. He's got buttloads of talent. And, you really just need a guy that's got experience in developing talent, developing players. I feel like this is just a perfect intro move. It's like, hey, just finish out these next couple games, and then we'll see where we go from there. I really hope that's where it's at, because I don't want to see Frank Lampard's career just get thrown under the bus because of what he's doing as a manager. You see it happen to player coaches before, and, he was lights out as a player. Definitely one of the best English midfielders of all time, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But he better not get this manager thing wrong, to not say something else. And he better not get this wrong, because everybody's quick to forget a player's career when it comes to, when it comes to being a manager. It's a tough shoe to fill, and everybody says they can do it till they're in the spot. And he already did it once, and it didn't end well. And it's tough to see. We'll see what happens. I hope it's just for a couple games and they reevaluate after that. But I don't know. I feel like it's just a publicity stunt.
Eddie, why would you do this if you're Frank Lampard, especially with going to the Bernabeu in less than a week?
Well, I mean, if you're Frank Lampard, you have to understand how you left Chelsea and then how you took the Everton job and it didn't work out for you. So if you still want to be a manager, this is your chance to prove yourself and prove people wrong that, hey, I do belong here. I can do the job. He's only there on an interim basis. This is not the long-term solution that Chelsea are looking for. They're still, looking for other potential matches like Nagelsmann. Conte's been thrown out in there. Pochettino. Even Mourinho's been thrown in there because the Chelsea fans adore Mourinho. But if you're Frank Lampard, I think you for sure go into the Real Madrid game knowing that, you know what, we're not even going to worry that much about the Champions League, because realistically, they're not going to win that game. They're not going to win that matchup. So his only focus should be into getting Chelsea in the best position possible to have European football. Because if you have European football, no matter if it's the Conference League, the Europa League, or the Champions League, that's more money coming in. And, with the season being how it's been, they're not winning anything. That's the best case scenario. And why not bring back a club legend to try to guide the ship and steer it into the right direction? This does mean we're going to see a lot more of Mason Mount. That's his boy. So let's get ready for that. But, Chelsea, top goalie, I don't know what you're doing, guy. If you need help, you hit me up. I'll give you all the scouting reports you need. But, you guys got to figure this out and figure it out.
Put me on as an advisor.
All right, well, moving on. Your guys' hero, Christian Pulisic. This is about to be his, I think, fifth manager or sixth manager since he got to Chelsea. And obviously, if he stays, it'll be his next one. But this is what your guys' boy Hercules Gomez had to say about Christian Pulisic. Let's hear what he had to say.
Let's see what he had to say.
Enlighten me.
Take ownership of their actions, of their responsibilities, of the opportunities they have or have not shown they can get or earn. And that's where I think Christian Pulisic has to take a little bit of a responsibility, a little bit of look in the mirror, because it can't always be it's on Frank Lampard, it's on Thomas Tuchel, it's on Graham Potter. Sometimes, and maybe this time, it has to be on Christian Pulisic. So whether Graham Potter leaves and the next guy comes in, next person comes in, that doesn't matter for Christian Pulisic. This may be too much water under the bridge with Chelsea, and he needs to leave. But the next place he does go, that next place, it needs to be on Christian Pulisic, because you've seen the flashes, but they've been just that. And he's easily, and I repeat, easily one of the most successful players in Europe in a U.S. men's national team jersey that's ever played already, and he's 24 years of age. But if he wants to get to...
I love when they just...
Why you cut him off right there? Hold on, champ. He's
Why you so
most
mad,
successful and 24 years old.
He was done. He was
I
done.
don't know. I feel like he had a little more to say.
No, he was. No, I've actually already watched that clip. He was done.
Most successful American player at 24 years old.
Most successful.
But there's nothing. Who are you gonna?
What are the red flags? What is the question? What is the question?
Who are you really gonna compare him to? Does
He's a trailblazer.
Huh?
He blazed the trail.
Blaze what trail?
What do you mean?
No.
He's the most successful at 24. He is the standard.
He's
Come
not.
on now, champ. What are you mad at him for?
The guy's overrated. All right. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, so you want him at Man U? You want him at Man U?
I'll take him at Man U.
He
He
could be
wants
a squad
he
player.
wants to fill the bunch. Yeah, for sure.
He can run in. You'll
You
rotate
heard
in.
that?
depth.
Bench. I
squad
heard
depth.
bench. I heard
I need
bench.
squad depth.
Everybody needs a rotate, bro.
You said bench.
Even
All
Benji
right.
grab some bench.
Does Gareth Bale knows a lot about that. Eddie,
Got
would
good
you
golf in
does
United.
he need to leave?
Well, yeah, he needs to leave. You know, I think, you know, he went to Chelsea, got
Tronco
a
FC?
Champions League out of it, you know, but other than that, you know, it hasn't really worked out as far as playing time has been concerned. But that really has to come down to him and just, you know, him not being available for selection. And if you're Christian Pulisic, you got to understand that, hey, if you're injury prone, you have to start taking better care of yourself, understanding when to get into a challenge, when not to get into a challenge, when to lay off the ball because the tackle's coming. You know, things like that, you know, situational awareness of like what's going on around you. Like J.C. said, he's only 24, man. Why are you dogging him like he's 29 and they're still trying to prop him up like they're
Like he's
propping
some
up Raul
Chicharito or
Jimenez or
something,
something?
you know?
Like, yeah, like calm
Damn,
down.
y'all
The
stay
guy's
talking about
24. He does have talent. Let's not lie about it. We've seen it at the World Cup. We've seen it in CONCACAF.
We're gonna see
We've
it
seen
in a couple
flashes of it in
weeks.
the
We saw it
Premier
at the
League.
World Cup.
We're
What
gonna
did we
see
watch
it
the same
versus
World Cup?
Mexico.
Are you kidding me?
Who'd they play?
Oh, okay. Now they ain't playing nobody.
We were watching
All
the game. You were there.
All right.
I
The
was
one
there.
game that I wanted to see
It's
what
the
he would do
World
was against
Cup.
England.
Come on,
He didn't do anything
bro.
against England.
World Cup.
He was put in
He
a
didn't do
pocket
nothing
against the
against England.
Netherlands.
Okay. No, he wasn't.
Against the Netherlands? What did he do
man.
Who
against the
had the first chance to
Netherlands?
go? Who had the first chance to go in that game?
But did he put it in the back of the net?
Christian
He didn't put it in the back of the net.
Come
Pulisic.
on, man. You did more with less.
There's the bat signal.
Respectful
Oh,
guy.
there it is.
There it is.
No, but honestly, this all really kind of comes down to the physicality of the Premiership.
Look at that
Honestly,
random
like I
JC.
mean, look at the transition. I mean, you're going from a Bundesliga. It's a little bit slower. Yes, it is aggressive. You got some real big dudes, but the agility, the fast-paced game is not the same. This is the Premier League. You can't go into a 50-50 ball expecting the defender to back out because they're going to favor the player. No, you saw John Stones take him out. That was really it. That was the play of the season.
And that's a
When
football
he-
play right there, boy.
And that's 50-50, and whoever gets soft is going out. And Pulisic doesn't have the physicality to keep up in the Premier League and to play every single game. I'm not saying he's your all-time starter, bro. He's not the answer. He's not your Vinicius. He's not your Cristiano Ronaldo. He's
Are
not.
you
He's
sure?
not
Because
your
there's
left
a lot
winger.
of people that believe that he's up there at that
No,
level.
the
that
U.S.
he's
media has the same
Look.
things that the Mexican media do when they prop up Mexican and American
It-
players. Oh, look, they're in Europe. They're
Look
doing
what
this.
they
Like,
did
bro,
for Lainez.
relax.
Look at Edson. Look at this loser Sanchez. Like, come on, bro.
That's what I'm
Don't touch
saying.
my
Like
boy Santiago
American
Jimenez. Stay
fans,
away from
American
him.
media, they believe that this kid is the next big thing, and I don't think so.
And that's not
I think
his
there's
fault.
better.
That
Like
is
I
not
think
his
Gio
fault.
Reyna's better.
That's not his fault. Why is that his
Oh, he
fault?
believes the hype. You can tell
But
he
Gio
believes
is
the hype.
also always injured. Gio is also always injured. And
Gio's
between
a
the
what
two, Christian has a better CV. But this is what the Premier League does. It separates the boys from men, and the ones that can live up to it. Not everybody can come in and handle the physicality.
Look, what
And that's the
happened to
number one
Donovan
problem.
when he
Go to the
joined the
MLS.
Premier League? What happened to Donovan when he joined the Premier League? Didn't hack it, and then he went straight to the MLS. At least
he
this
stayed
kid's
there.
Well, but that's
trying
that's
to
because
stay
Donovan was already in the
Premier League.
MLS,
At least he's
came to
been doing
play,
things,
and then went
you
back.
know?
Yeah,
The
he
guy
went
has
alone.
talent, bro.
The
Guy
kid
has
grew up. I
talent.
mean, the
And
kid
shout
grew
out
up.
Clint
No,
Dempsey.
I give the kid credit. He grew up
Shout
in
out
Europe.
Deuce.
You know, he
Hey,
was out there
dog, you don't
doing
know
it
where
in
I'm
England.
from, dog.
Yeah, you don't know where I'm from, man. Clint Dempsey was the only American player to
Yeah,
really hack
dog.
it in the Premier League. You know, and that's the reason for it is because of his physicality, and it's not cut out for everybody.
Ask
You can't
Juventus
just,
about Clint Dempsey.
come off the bench.
Ask everybody
and,
about
anybody.
Chicharito when he was at Man
Oh
U.
my
Bro,
god!
one of the most stacked teams ever. All right, here we go.
Y'all
Look,
are
I ain't gonna
funny.
lie. He was
Y'all are
cool. He
funny.
was cool. He was cool off the bench.
That's
Chicharito
where he
was cool
peaked.
off the bench.
That's where he
And that's what we're
peaked.
saying about Pulisic. What's wrong with that?
Squad players. Squad
They're
players
squad players.
are not the solution. They're part of it. They're not the
So would
part
you
of it.
rather have Chelsea Pulisic or Man U Chicha?
There's two different positions, champ.
Ah,
Yeah, it's two
All
different positions. But I think Chicharito and them compared, Pulisic brings more to the table.
interesting. I guess.
Why you mad?
Hey, you asked me. I'm gonna tell you.
And now I regret asking.
Because Chicharito can't score without. He's an area player. He can't create his own play. He can't juke players. He barely has a first touch. He didn't have a good pass until Sir
He
Alex
didn't
had to
start
put him on
creating
the
his own
training
space,
block.
so he went to Leverkusen. I hope you understand that.
No,
When
I
he
do
went to
know that.
Leverkusen, that's when he started creating his own space.
Yeah, he was more of a
banging in
poacher.
goals.
He was more of a
Developed.
poacher at the beginning.
But before he was, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but he, at least he put it in the back of the net.
Well,
Shit.
Hey, different positions.
Eh.
But you're
Speaking
gonna
of-
see Pulisic run amok versus the Mexico team very
What the
soon.
hell do I care about Mexico? I want to
And-
see that kid actually do something in
That's-
Europe.
That's Pulisic.
That's what everybody keeps on talking about.
Pulisic.
But I don't
This
see
is
it.
why they talk about him, because he comes home and he supports his team and he puts it all on the line like they're supposed to. That's all
Big
I'm saying.
American. Don't be mad.
You know?
It's incredible that you rate Pulisic, but you don't rate Rashford. That really surprises me, JC. The
Hey.
fact that like Rashford actually does run amok and Pulisic is hurt most of the
Oh.
Hot
season.
takes today.
Oh,
boy.
Rashford runs amok?
Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, at least the guy is like,
You're there?
actually active and he's playing.
Yeah.
Pulisic just does not play half of the
Yeah.
year for his squad.
Rashford disappeared for 3 years and he shows up for
Who
a
would you
couple
rather have,
months, and
Pulisic
there
or
you guys
Rashford?
are running amok.
They're both the same position. They're both the
Shoot.
same position. Rashford or Pulisic? Who would you rather
There's
have?
no difference. There's no difference. They're the same player. They show up once in a while.
Just time to move on, boys. Go to
Okay.
the next question. You guys are ridiculous.
One's just too focused on Instagram, and the other one can't play. Can't stay on the field. So.
All
He
right, so
almost hit me
Coca-
with the one's a sport, one is a joke. Room for all.
Diego Coca had a press conference, and this is what he had to say.
Oh, gotta love
in
YouTube.
that
Blah
sad
blah blah
place.
blah. No free promos.
Por las características que tiene y que le puede dar el equipo, sino también por el momento que esté pasando,
This guy
sobre todo con
right
el tema de
here.
lesión. Hasta mismo hoy puedo tener una lista y tengo que esperar al fin de semana para ver también cómo terminan todos los jugadores y analizar. Entonces hay situaciones que no se van a poder resolver con planeamiento. Y lógicamente, como te digo y como lo ha dicho él, yo tengo comunicación con muchos jugadores y esa es la que yo quiero saber, escucharlo y saber si está bien, cómo se siente, cómo está, en qué proceso está, si está lesionado, si está bien. Lo hago con él como lo haré con todos y decidiremos cuál es la mejor decisión.
So that was Mexican national team manager Diego Coca. He was asked if he will be bringing on Chicharito for the April 19th clash with the United States. Diego Coca said he has been talking with Chicha, but it's all about just, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Do you feel like you could come in and help us? Basically is all that it is. He's like, I do that with every player. I'm calling up all these different kinds of players to see what they could bring, if they could add something. JC, I'm gonna start off with you because you're the first one that made noise. Good or bad that he's calling up guys like him, or calling guys like him, and obviously if he's calling him up, he's calling up other guys that have been on the squad, I'm sure, before.
It's ridiculous. You have a striker. You got somebody bagging goals left and right, and one of the most.
By the way, he just bagged another one a couple of days.
Yeah, what do you know? Today, or versus Ajax in the semifinal.
Yeah,
wow. You know, big game player scores in the semifinal. What do you know? And they were down 2-0. He doesn't bag the goal for some of the team. Hey, you and me both. But here we are on the podcast and not making choices for teams, right? But hopefully they hear this. But honestly, that guy's just gonna be stopping and taking away minutes from guys that really need to be there. There are other strikers all around the country that really need to be getting minutes and the opportunity to play. But here we are recycling the same old garbage. Honestly, the team's on fire, and this is just another log you throw to the fire to make the fire bigger. He's not an answer. He's not putting out fires. He's really just another marketing stunt, and that's all it is. There's no upside to this. Why would you bring on this player who really doesn't play 90 minutes, who's going to be playing selfish, who's not going to be playing, the right way, and for what? And this is a known thing. Yeah, it's expected. Cocca is known to have the oldest players in the oldest teams on average. And here we are calling up, guys that are essentially retired from the team. We already have a striker. They're already trying to force Henry Martin. Not happening. There's one striker. You got him. Let the other kids rotate in to see who number 2 is. And that's that. It's a waste of time. It's annoying. And, like we said, not manager for much longer, and this is more reasons why.
Real quick, it was at a real estate. Chicharito recently invested in real estate out in LA, and he was at a conference, and somebody asked him about it, and he said that Cocca said that the door's open for anybody to come back. That and Chicharito said that he might take him up on his word. So, Eddie, good or bad?
I'm surprised they didn't call Borghetti or Hugo Sanchez up to the selection
at this point.
Wow.
Let's be fair. Chicharito came out on his Twitch stream and crying that, let's give the selection time, let's give the manager time. I'm not surprised Diego Cocca is out here now selling these things and rubbing his back, I guess, in a sense. The door's still open for you, Chicharito. Like J.C. said, we don't need you don't need a striker like him. You have a Santiago Jimenez who's doing it. His team's
do you think it's because he feels
the
pressure?
He's bagging goals.
Do you feel like
pressure from the federation? Nobody else. The federation's trying to make more money. How do you make money? You bring a player like Chicharito that a casual fan knows and has seen and expects to be there every time the selection plays. That's who they're catering to. We're not catering to you, me, or JC. Come on now. So don't be surprised if you see Guardado, Chicharito, Herrera,
Héctor Moreno,
Tronco FC.
They might just go call Massa Rodriguez right now too. Just put him in there real quick.
Hey, shout out to Massa for his 2014 World Cup performance. I thought he actually did a pretty good job back then.
Go call Cuauhtémoc Blanco and see if he's done with governor duties at this point.
Go call Michael Fabian too. Why not?
Same thing.
That's JC's boy.
Over and over again.
Yeah, at least he scored on Barcelona, right?
Yeah, he did. That was a nice goal too.
Against the United States. That's the last game he's ever going to coach for the selection.
All right. Now let's head to these guys' favorite segment. What's on social media? Hey.
Go.
All right. Let's see what the first thing is. Dan and Dago usually is the one that provides this, so I don't usually.
Shout out Dan and Dago.
Sir Alex Ferguson said this back in 2015. Ronaldo could play for Millwall, QPR, or Doncaster Rovers and score a hat trick in a game. I'm not sure Messi could do that. I think Messi's a Barcelona player.
Come on,
back in 2015, Alex Ferguson said this.
It's just resurfaced. Oh wow, yeah, ESPN really grasping for likes. Look at 7 million views.
Only they're full of controversy. They see that Messi's not doing that well. So let me pull up an old Sir Alex Ferguson United quote and give you that. Days. Come on now.
Yeah, get out of here. But that's speaking of what we're talking about. He needs to be on a team. He's not an individual player.
Look at the comment right there.
You know what I mean? It's just,
this guy goes, he ain't wrong. Just look at the teammates, and Ronaldo still can't stop scoring. Whereas Messi hasn't even gotten a hat trick at PSG's super team, mainly due to the system not being built around him.
His level's good, champ. I don't care what nobody says.
A Premier League game for everybody.
All right. Oh, this one's going to be fun. So an AI algorithm came up with the best starting 11 of all time. This is the best starting 11 that you could put out there and that it would not lose.
I need to know what formulas.
Let me get your guys' opinion on it.
Let me find out. Lay it on me, champ.
All right. It's at the top, Pele, Ronaldo at left, Messi at right, Maradona at right mid, Zidane at CDM.
Johan Cruyff.
Cruyff, yeah. I'm always missay his name. And then obviously Cafu, Baresi, Buffon, Beckenbauer, and Maldini.
That's a lot of defense back there, boy.
That's a lot of
I saw somebody say that they should have put Marcelo instead of Maldini, but I was like,
no.
That's not the way.
This is a crazy team. Do I agree? Not really, but these are really just basically
I'll
the most
probably
iconic players ever,
I'll probably
and they
put
just threw
Bullet
them
at
all on the
striker.
team.
You'd put who?
Yeah,
Bullet.
What about
what
you?
is a force? Yeah, I don't like Zidane being your holding mid, but I guess you
You're
have
gonna
to
hate on
force him in
Zidane?
there. I mean, he's not a holding mid. He's doesn't play that position. He's a free attacking mid player, bro. He just plays wherever he
It's a
wants. He's
lot
a
of
free
defense,
roamer.
bro.
It's tough. You
Would
gotta have at
Buffon
least
be your
one.
goalkeeper?
Yeah, Buffon's crazy. I'm with that.
Oh
Eddie?
man, it's a toss up for me. I
Him and
love
De
me some
Gea?
prime Casillas.
Oh,
I love me a prime Peter Schmeichel. It's crazy, but
all right.
can't be mad at Buffon back there.
Buffon, he's got that. He won that. He won that World Cup, bro. He stopped those
Nice.
penalties. He's right there.
I'll give you guys one last one. Let's see. You know what? Let's play a game. How many managers do you guys believe, Eddie, go first, have been fired from the Premier League this season?
Oh,
13.
I know this one. Yeah.
Yes.
I got my notes, guy. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not out here just spitballing. Come on now.
What do you guys make of this?
13.
Antonio Conte.
Results?
¿Dónde está Antonio Conte?
Results?
Antonio Conte, ¿dónde está?
It's a results-driven league everywhere, every league. I'm surprised there isn't more.
Another thing that is win oriented is Compas FC. We appreciate you guys again for joining us. Another successful podcast. A lot of back and forth, obviously. We appreciate you guys so much for joining us. Don't forget to check out everything that's Compas on the beat. Gilbert and I were at WrestleMania all weekend. We got some great interviews. Braun Strowman, The Miz, MVP. We got to listen into Roman Reigns' press conference. Check out all that stuff. And then I released a short the other day on YouTube yesterday. Is Vince McMahon being back actually good for business? I don't think so. Let me know what you guys think. Triple H should be the one running it, in my opinion. Don't forget to check out regular Compas on the beat, where Gilbert and I discuss, we're giving guys the background. I mean, we're talking to you guys about what it's like as media members. You guys know that's what we use Compas on the beat for, what it was like to cover WWE. Very different, very interesting. Don't forget to go check that out. And then we also do talk football on the episode. Is Trey Lance ready to be quarterback one for the 49ers? Or could they backdoor and go Aaron Rodgers if it falls through with the Jets?
Don't start.
I told you Eckler has to go, bro. Long time ago.
We have a lot more on there, and don't forget to check out What's Up Bolts, House of Horns. And if you guys haven't checked out the previous episodes of Compas FC, go check it out. Last episode, we spoke about Diego Cocca. The guys rated Diego Cocca's first 2 matches as a manager, and then we discussed who could be the next manager for Real Madrid. When Ancelotti basically ends up taking the Brazil job, as ESPN FC kept on talking about so much today during the broadcast. But we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys again for joining us. We'll be back next week to wrap up Champions League. The Elite Eight or whatever it is next week. So we'll be back next Thursday morning with a new episode breaking down everything Champions League. Thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend.
Shout out, State.